Trump says a deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz could arrive as early as Wednesday, but warned Iran that it will get hit very hard if it fell through.
German police deployed a bomb disposal robot at Leipzig-Halle airport after a drone was found on the tarmac near a Ukrainian cargo plane. EU Chief Ursula von der Leyen condemned Russia's latest attacks on Kyiv and announced the release of €1.4 billion in frozen Russian asset profits to Ukraine.
U.S. President Donald Trump said that a deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz could come as soon as Wednesday, but warned Iran that it would get hit very hard if the talks fell through. Transit of the waterway, a key maritime corridor for global oil and gas shipping, has been a sticking point in the talks and led to renewed fighting despite a ceasefire agreed in April. Iran has tightened its grip on Hormuz and wants to take control of the strait and charge tolls, powers it did not exercise before the war began on 28 February. Trump, speaking to reporters in California, said that negotiators had a, quote, very good day, a change in tone from earlier threats he had directed at the Islamic Republic.
The Strait's going to be open very soon, or they're going to get hit very hard, and then the Strait's going to be open. And we were going to a tremendous attack, the biggest since World War II. And they called me and said, very politely, please, can we talk? Can we talk? They didn't want. And I said, yes, we can talk. Let's get it done. Finally, let's get it done.
Iran has meanwhile doubled down on its claims that no talks are ongoing with the U.S., even as Trump insisted they were happening. Qatar, which has been mediating the talks between Iran and Oman, said there were no direct talks between Washington and Tehran, but acknowledged that diplomatic efforts are underway.
On the ground that are
U.S. media reporting on the potential deal said it would include a 60-day safe passage arrangement in the strait between Iran and Oman. German police deployed a bomb disposal robot at Germany's Leipzig-Halle airport overnight after a drone was found on the tarmac near a Ukrainian cargo plane, sparking alarm and forcing the diversion of numerous flights. A DHL cargo aircraft that had to abort its scheduled landing at the airport then collided mid-air with a drone, sustaining minor damage, before landing safely at Hanover Airport. A NATO spokesperson later confirmed that a drone equipped with explosives and a detonator had been found near an aircraft belonging to Kyiv's cargo carrier Antonov Airlines. Ukrainian media outlets later reported that the item was carefully taken off the tarmac and destroyed in a controlled explosion. The airport in eastern Germany plays a key role in the transport of military goods, including by the German military and NATO allies, and also serves as a base for Ukraine's Antonov Airlines.
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen condemned what she called horrible atrocities by Moscow on Wednesday following a deadly overnight attack on the Kyiv region. She said Ukraine would soon receive €1.4 billion from proceeds generated by immobilized Russian assets to fund its war effort. The EU froze around €200 billion of Russia's international reserves shortly after Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022. While the assets remain untouched, the profits generated from them have been used to support Ukraine. Von der Leyen announced the latest funding after at least 17 people were killed in Russian ballistic missile and drone attacks on Kyiv. Russia has intensified its attacks on Ukraine in recent weeks, striking several civilian targets. 4 previous tranches of windfall profits from Russia's frozen assets have been transferred to Kyiv, the latest in March this year, with Wednesday's announcement bringing the total to €8 billion.
A wave of overnight Russian missile and drone strikes killed at least 15 people and wounded dozens across Kiev and the surrounding region, marking one of the heaviest attacks on the Ukrainian capital in recent weeks. Regional authorities confirmed 14 fatalities in the suburbs and 1 in Kiev urban center after residential buildings and warehouses were struck. At the same time, Ukrainian forces launched extensive strikes deep inside Russian territory. Russian officials reported destroying 107 drones over the Tula region alone, where falling debris sparked fires at facilities belonging to e-commerce firm Wildberries. As air defenses were tested on both sides of the border, UN monitors warned civilian casualties have reached their highest level since the full-scale invasion began in February 2022. In response to the escalating aerial bombardment, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky pressed US counterpart Donald Trump for licenses to produce Patriot missile interceptors domestically, warning that air defense shortages directly enable further Russian strikes.
And they'll live by it.
A 26-year-old suspect accused of the murder of a British woman, Elizabeth Jane Ross, was brought before the prosecutor in Athens on Wednesday to answer charges in the case that has shocked Greece. It comes after the remains of the 38-year-old British woman were found inside a suitcase in an abandoned building in Kypseli. Charged with first-degree murder, robbery, and violations of firearms laws, the suspect's arrest took place following an investigation by the Organized Crime Division. According to the Greek police, the 26-year-old man of Afghan origin confessed to putting the woman in a suitcase but not to killing her. Reports indicate that he claimed that the woman was already dead when he found her, but police investigation concluded that the defendant attempted to dispose of her remains. The woman from Scotland had traveled to Greece on June 26, and until July 10, she was staying at a friend's home in Piraeus before leaving for an unknown destination in the Greater Athens area where she disappeared. International cooperation among law enforcement agencies, including Interpol and the Scottish Police, helped in identifying the suspect's fingerprints and the victim's body.
Konotopie to niewielka miejscowość w gminie Kikuł w środkowej Polsce, gdzie już za kilka dni zostanie uroczyście poświęcona najwyższa w Europie ponad 55-metrowa figura Matki Bożej. Monument wyższy od słynnego Chrystusa Odkupiciela w Rio de Janeiro powstał z inicjatywy miliardera Romana Karkosika i jego żony jako prywatne wotum wdzięczności nawiązujące do niewielkiej figurki Matki Bożej czczonej w tutejszym sanktuarium. O tym, jakie znaczenie dla lokalnych mieszkańców ma ta wyjątkowa inwestycja, opowiedział nam miejscowy sołtys Mieczysław Grębicki.
Ogromne znaczenie ma dla mieszkańców Konotopia i okolicznych tutaj mieszkańców, ale w ogóle to jest wydarzenie w całej Polsce, bo pomnik jest jeden z największych w Polsce, ale w Europie jest największy, to 55 metrów ma wysokości. No to jest takie wotum wdzięczności ponoć państwa Karkosików. Oni wcześniej wybudowali sanktuarium w 2011 roku, a teraz jakieś ponoć miał natchnienie, jakieś wizje czy coś tam, że taką potężną Matkę Boską wybudował. Pan kierownik tej budowy, no to mówił, że gwarancja jest na 300 lat. No chyba, że jakiś kataklizm będzie, jakieś, no nie wiem, nie daj Boże, ale chyba nie. Chyba Matka Boska będzie się obroniła sama.
O nowym symbolu Konotopia zrobiło się głośno w kraju i poza granicą. Na miejscu spotkaliśmy turystów z Czech.
Jesteśmy obcokrajowcami, ale mogę powiedzieć, że jestem pod wrażeniem, bo po prostu coś niesamowitego.
Moc hezký. Jsme na dovolené v Polsku už 14 dní, je to moc hezká země a včera jsme se ve zprávách dozvěděli, když jsme byli v Gdaňsku, že se bude asi za týden otvírat tento pomník, že se bude, tak máme cestu dneska domů do Čech a tak jsme se tady museli zastavit, protože to už nikdy asi neuvidíme, takový velký hezký pomník a hezké dílo.
Jest imponujący. Przyjechaliśmy specjalnie, żeby zobaczyć. W ogóle jest bardzo piękny teren, blisko drogi.
Szacowany koszt budowy wyniósł około 100 milionów złotych. Uroczyste poświęcenie monumentu odbędzie się 15 sierpnia podczas mszy pod przewodnictwem biskupa Krzysztofa Wędkowskiego. Z Konotopia dla Euronews Mateusz Jaroński.
Iceland has ordered the expulsion of 21 anti-whaling activists held in Reykjavik since last week after their ship was seized while pursuing a whaling vessel. The Icelandic Coast Guard said the crew of a whaling ship requested assistance on Thursday evening because they believed their safety was under threat from the protest vessel Bandero. The Bandero is operated by a group founded by anti-whaling activist Paul Watson. Watson was not on board. Those aboard the Bandero included US citizens, Brazilians, French and Spanish, according to a list provided by the Captain Paul Watson Foundation.
The Icelandic Coast Guard sent a helicopter and a large vessel and 3 inflatable boats full of special forces to board the Bandero, which they did after a pursuit of quite a few hours. And we have not heard from the ship since then.
But Watson says his team takes it as an opportunity to continue its campaign.
Iceland's membership in the European Union hinges on ending whaling, as it would be prohibited under EU regulations. The European Parliament must be fully informed of these actions, and we intend to publicize this.
The crew had been confined to the vessel in the Reykjavik port, but police said Wednesday they could now leave the ship. Along with Norway and Japan, Iceland is one of the only countries still practicing commercial whaling.
The powerful sister of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un accused Japan on Wednesday of transformation into a war state as Tokyo beefs up its military stance in the Pacific. Japan has been gradually moving away from its post-World War II pacifist status, increasing military spending, ramping up defense pacts, and deploying missile launchers to its outer islands. In a statement carried by North Korean state media, Kim Yo-jong cited Tokyo's recent test firing of Tomahawk long-range cruise missiles and its May participation in U.S.-led drills in the Philippines as evidence of Washington's support for so-called dangerous military moves in the Pacific. China, a key ally of North Korea, has also recently expressed alarm at what it sees as new militarism by Japan. Relations have worsened since Tokyo's hawkish Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi made comments in November suggesting Chinese action to seize Taiwan could merit a reaction from Japan's military.